Welcome back to For the Love of Men podcast. My name's Courtney Shand, and I'm hosting with my dear friend and recently graduated somatica training expertise, Brianna Mosier.
Yes.
She's amazing. And we are here on For the Love of Men podcast. In case you have forgotten, the purpose of the show is really to bring together men and women to create healthy, polarized relationship dynamics by learning how to honor each other's masculine and feminine energetic core.
Yes.
We are here celebrating. We have some big things to celebrate.
So many.
Like I mentioned, Bri just graduated from her somatica training.
Yes. Sex, intimacy, pleasure, love, relationship, coaching.
She is
all the things.
On it.
Heavy on the pleasure.
She is on it. If you have worked with her in the past, you know this is her absolute zone of genius. And I, as her friend, am so proud that you have pursued this training. Not that you weren't great at it before, but there's something really special about getting the official training and expanding your own view of all the other options that you haven't been bringing to your practice. So your clients are lucky.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's been really lovely.
Yeah.
And I'm stoked to bring it into a program in October for vulva owners.
Yes.
You want to expand and unleash your pleasure, both energetically, emotionally, mentally, physically. I've got your back.
She's got you.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
She is your girl.
We're celebrating a lot of other things,
a lot of
too,
things.
though.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, our TikTok following is at an all-time high.
All time.
11,000, something like that.
11,000 plus, which is cheers to that.
Cheers to that. It still feels, compared to other followings, smaller, but you guys are so engaged.
Yeah.
And we love that. So we're so grateful.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No.
It's also been less than 6 months. I just want to say.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it has.
It has not even been 6 months.
Mm-hmm. We've been killing it.
So 10K plus in less than 6 months is
a few viral videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you guys for participating as well.
And what did we, because of TikTok, what did we just get offered?
Yeah. We have a new sponsorship offer for being paid to do this work, supporting our work
and keeping it free
and
for
keeping
you.
it free for you guys. Mm-hmm. We are at the level where we have been pouring our heart and soul into this for almost a year now.
Yep.
And it's a lot of work. So
it is.
To be supported in that way feels amazing, and we get to keep these resources coming to you hot off the press.
Amazing. Yeah. And I might add, if you're a listener and you know of a sponsorship opportunity or you're wanting to work with us in that way, let us know.
Genius.
Because you already know our ethos and our message, so reach out to us there.
Yeah. Not only that, we also have gotten speaking offers.
Yeah.
From TikTok.
And the podcast.
Mm-hmm. We are so excited. Mm-hmm. We have a men's conference coming up that we have been invited to speak at. And it is going to be juicy. Some of our best content, in my opinion.
Agreed.
It's not been shared on the podcast. It is like fresh for the conference. And we are also building our men's program.
Yes.
Cheers.
To empowered masculine men.
To empowering masculine energy men.
May we love them. May we raise them. May we help them evolve.
Marry them.
May we marry them.
Oh, partner with them, whatever works for you.
Do your thing.
Yeah. So that to me it's so humbling because it really is such a huge platform to step into. Again, in less than 6 months, we have all of these things that are now coming to fruition based on all this
manifesting queens
work. Yeah.
That's what we are.
Yeah, we've been taking steps diligently, and we appreciate you guys' consistent support.
And your comments, your listenership, your following, your sharing of the show, none of it would have been possible without everybody who listens and all the feedback you give us. Courtney and I just die of happiness. Oh, yeah. Honestly, every time someone's like, I love the show, or I listened to this, we send it to each other, we screenshot, we do happy dances.
Yeah.
So thank you for your continual support and involvement, because it matters so much. Mm-hmm. It means so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So cheers to you guys too.
Cheers to you guys.
This is just
all the
as
reasons
much
to drink. Oh.
Just as much part of your journey as well.
All the dings are coming up on the audio recording.
Oh, that's funny. These are real crystal. They were my grandparents.
Wow, fancy.
So they'll be very ringy.
So, lots of things to celebrate. Mm-hmm. So many more. Anything else you wanted to share?
Am I forgetting any?
No, I'm just wondering if you have something else you want to celebrate.
Well, always. I mean, there have been so many clients that we have been able to open up our programs to from TikTok, from the podcast, who are like, hey, I'm ready for this level of support, and your podcast sold me. What do you have? And it's amazing because we can also use the podcast as kind of a living library in our client work too. I mean, we have developed programs and lead people through kind of a guided, progression based on what they need, but also to be able to say, hey, listen to episode 4. This is going to make a lot more sense. Listen to episode 12. It's going to make a lot more sense.
Yes.
And then you can go back and do that. It just has been so supportive of my work in the world. So
yeah, and your courses and what you create is even more advanced than what you share in the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Next level. So if you're a listener and you want to know how to apply it or how to go deeper and work with it or have support, Courtney's programs, Courtney's coaching, you got to go further. I'm telling you, I know what's in the show and I know what's in Courtney's mind and her heart, and you want the whole dang thing. And I think you're almost full. You just shared with me.
Yeah.
Your coaching practice is almost full. So if you want to work with Courtney, you got to reach out.
Yeah, the spots are getting more limited because I've got 3 programs that I'm going to be bringing through in, I'd say in the next 6 months, there will be 3 programs additional to what I have. Yeah. And it's just a matter of balancing. Can I keep creating and balance my client load? Yeah. So the spots are getting smaller.
So we're excited that you've come into our coaching practices and are working what's in higher level ways. It's amazing. And we're super grateful. And we're drinking champagne if you didn't already hear.
Cheers.
And sorry, I left you hanging on the cheers. I would sip it, but I have stuff to say. Let's talk about the episode today, because we've gone on now for 7 minutes about how great things are.
Celebrating. We're just celebrating. It's amazing.
We're just celebrating, but we have a juicy episode for you called Bad Dating Advice Made Right. Part 2. There are a few repeat offenders that deserve another award. They're not making their debut, but they are walking the red carpet for the second time. So some familiar ones that we want to emphasize, but 4 very original.
Yeah.
The only reason they made a reoccurring appearance is because they suck that bad.
They're still out there.
And we see them everywhere. So,
still out there, and we're taking a stand for them.
Yeah, we're standing for them.
Yeah.
So we're going to go in reverse order. We're going to give you number 6 first, and we're going to work our way to the top and give you the worst dating advice that really, in my opinion, sets people up to fail.
Oh, 100%.
Big time.
Oh, yes.
And it's not what you expect, because I didn't learn this until years into personal development work. And sometimes I still have to check myself.
Yeah. It's more insidious. I would say they're more obvious, and then they become a little more nuanced and a little bit more insidious in that way.
100%. So do you want to kick us off with number 6?
Oh, yeah. This is
Whoa, she liked that one. Okay, hit him with it.
I don't know what that noise was, but I'm ready for it. Yeah, so this idea of you don't want to seem too available. Empowered, high-value people are not available. I think that's probably how it gets talked about a lot. And this has 2 offshoots, because to the masculine energy, this will sound like, well, I didn't want to seem too desperate. I didn't call her back until the 3rd date, or the 3rd day, sorry. That's like old school. Don't call her back for a few days. You want to, let her simmer. And what's happening on the opposite side is she's like, I mean, I've got this great life created, and yet, what the heck? I thought we had a really good time. She's starting to notice your absence, not in a great way. It's not in a very empowering way. And when we're talking about empowered relationship dynamics, it's mutual empowerment. When that's not happening, we're both losing. We both win or we both lose. That's how that works, in my opinion. Anything you want to add to that? She's not going
to open more to you. She's looking for safety. And when you don't reach out, it actually creates a lack of safety. And her brain is either going, well, this is my show, so I can say this. Well, fuck him. I don't want it. Or the wounded part of her is getting activated, the pick me, choose me, wounded feminine energy. It's not good on her end. She's talking to her friends about it. She's feeling insecure. And the dating experience that you want to co-create together is both of you feeling like your best selves And when you purposefully withhold your attention, you're actually drawing out the wounded parts of them that don't feel good. So the experience of feeling insecure is now associated with you, which isn't yours to own. It's just that it's how she feels when she's with you. When I date this person, I feel insecure and I lack reassurance. So you're not going to be too available as a man. We're looking for it. If Courtney and I were dating, if Courtney was dating, which she's not, because she's in a good spot. She's off the market. But if she were, and she were dating a man and he didn't call her back for 3 days, I guarantee you she'd be like, it's weird behavior. But if he did call her back the next day and was like, Courtney, I made a plan, I want to take you out, she'd be like, Bree, we need to celebrate.
I'll bring the champagne.
Right.
We'll just have fun.
We'd be swooning.
Yeah.
And so what's the reverse for a woman's perspective? Because women get that advice too.
Yeah.
Tell them about that.
Yeah, because we don't want to seem too available. And the reality is, I was laughing. I laughed when you said it out loud because I was like, yeah, this really does not set up a good standard.
No.
The flip side of it is women are told to create this wonderful life that you enjoy, which is a very empowered piece of advice. Your life should be supporting you living your best life. And yet the experience for men is, well, I can't get on her schedule because she's booked out 3 weeks in advance. And if you're early in the dating connection, to wait 3 weeks for a date is going to fizzle. If she doesn't have the openness, schedule openness too. Time is its own relationship for the feminine. And so if she doesn't have the openness in her schedule to be like, yeah, I'm free on Friday, let's do that. It's going to actually create for him this experience of she's just not available. She's great. She seems really awesome. And yet I'm not willing to fight for her schedule to open up. So there's an art to having enough exciting things in your schedule that you're not hyper focused on one particular connection while also staying open enough schedule wise. And sometimes that's having backup things planned so that you're not dependent on his planning. You still can be like, and I'm going to go get my nails done if he doesn't call back. Great. Also equally fun. That was something that I had to kind of find that balance. But yeah, having the balance of having enough openings in your schedule, enough downtime to date, while also not being booked out 6 months in advance. Anything coming up for you with that?
I think that's genius. And just addressing the underlying energetic of it. Like when a woman is trying to seem too available, how do I feel about attraction psychology, Courtney? Bad. I don't like it. When we're trying to seem too available to make someone want us, it's coming from this perspective of, I don't feel inherently worthy of being wanted, so I need to make myself sparse so that I seem like a rarity and someone will pursue me more.
Yeah.
And it makes, like, psychologically, it makes sense, right? Because that is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's not clearing up the wound underneath. That is, I don't feel inherently good enough, worthy to be pursued. You're not going to have to convince someone who's right for you to pursue you. And I just think people get in their heads with all these rules and it takes them out of their authenticity and they find themselves trying to control the outcome. That's really where this comes from, is like, I wanted to pick me, choose me. How can I control the outcome of this? And I would invite you to just leave that paradigm behind and go in knowing your worthiness. You can do work with Courtney or I if you need help with that. We're both genius at it. Knowing your worthiness, knowing what's for you can't pass you, that your aligned person's meant to find you. And then let things unfold as they do, instead of trying all these dating tactics. They just create drama.
Yeah.
And I'm over it.
Yeah. There is a nuance to like slowing the connection down and allowing it to unfold from a place of security and solidarity within yourself. That being said, if you're coming from that space, go out with him again tomorrow. If it was really fun, like, yeah, let's do it again tomorrow. I have some space. Awesome. Let's do it. I'm still the one controlling my schedule. It's not like I'm putting you out 6 weeks from now because now you're in my rotation. I think that can really, like you said, create a lot of drama from a more wounded space of trying to artificially seem X, Y, or Z on either side, We can't artificially seem something and still be authentic.
No, it's messing with the natural flow that's trying to happen. You're both having a natural intuition and instinct on how to pursue the connection, and then both people are getting infiltrated and bombarded and attacked by these old dating beliefs coming in saying, don't be too available, don't be this, don't be that, and it's thwarting you off a path which would have just been an amicable union of two people if both people weren't getting in their heads and bombarded by bad advice.
Ooh, so well said.
It's taking you out of your intuition.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mic drop. That's it. That's it. Right there. Boom.
Number 5 is a great segue. Similar, play hard to get. This is terrible advice. Mm-hmm. Every time I see it on the interwebs, I say a little prayer. I don't like it. And the reason I don't like it is, again, you're avoiding the wound of not feeling good enough, right? And trying to make yourself seem more valuable by withholding your attention. I've said this before in shows, but I don't think you can say it enough. When you play hard to get, if you're a woman, if you're playing hard to get with a man, you're either going to bring out the wounded masculine side of him that wants to pursue you and conquer you, like you're something he can keep on his arm as an achievement, because he can't have you. That wounded masculine part of him is going to come out and say, I'm going to prove it. His ego will get involved. Or the wounded feminine part of him will come out, which is the part of him that doesn't feel inherently good enough and feels like he now needs to prove it to you. And so this is where you might get a little of like the wounded feminine love bomb, which is different than a wounded masculine love bomb, by the way. We'll do an episode on that.
Brilliant.
But you might get this like, I'll plan all the dates, I'll do all these things, I'll take care of you, blah, blah, blah. And this has happened to so many of my clients, friends. They come on so strong, and it looks and walks like empowered masculine, but it's coming from the wounded feminine space of, I don't feel good enough, so I'm going to do all these things. So you're going to get wounded masculine out of him or wounded feminine out of him, and you're not calling forth the highest, most empowered version of him when you play hard to get, or yourself, by the way, because that is actually your wound playing out. Again, it comes from this belief that I'm not inherently worthy of being loved, adored, cherished, pursued, so I have to play hard to get.
Yep.
What else would you add to that?
No, I think that's genius. I wouldn't add anything because you just nailed it.
I get very heated about this.
Yeah. No, but I love that. You said that there are two different wounds that are going to get activated. And neither one is going to be buildable. Right. I always talk to my clients of like, there's building energy. Empowered energy is building energy, and that's what you need in order to build a future with this person. When we're playing on their wounds, it's like a crack in the foundation. Why would we do that to ourselves? We are the ones who are going to suffer when our whole house of cards crumbles. We want for that to be as secure as possible, because that's what naturally allows nervous systems to open up. Security, safety on both sides. That's what allows nervous systems to open up. And when we're talking authenticity, we need our nervous system to be as open and calm as possible, because that's what allows our intuition to come online and say, is this person healthy for me? Are there red flags that I'm purposely missing because I'm so activated I can't feel them?
I'm just curious, when your intuition comes online, if there were a sound and a gesture that it would make, could you do that again, please? And could you verbalize it for our audio listeners?
Yeah, my intuition antennas. They're like,
so it's like
you're really pleased with yourself for getting me to do this again.
Yeah. It reminds me of if you were to take your spirit fingers and put them on the top of your head, like a horn, and then just kind of put it forward, bend your fingers forward. That's what you didn't witness on the podcast.
It's scanning the scene for all sorts of data.
And what noise is it, just really quickly?
Do-do-do-do-do.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Anytime your intuition comes on, you can let Courtney know, at Courtney_Shand. Tag her when your intuition antennas. Come on.
Oh my gosh.
My job is to sidetrack us.
Yeah,
so.
and she's killing it. She does great at her job. We should pay her more.
Or anything. No, I'm just kidding.
For her volunteer position.
Oh boy, for my donated time for the podcast. Okay, let's move on.
Oh, this one's all you.
Number 4. I feel like I just spearheaded the last one, but I'll do it again if you want.
No, go for it. I just feel like this is so your domain.
Okay, number 4. This piece of dating advice irks me. Do not sleep with him until X number date. There's a lot I could say. Really, this is internalized misogyny that says a woman's value is equivalent to how many men she has or hasn't slept with. And saying that she's giving up some part of herself if she sleeps with him, or giving up part of her value if she sleeps with him. That's where the advice comes from. The heart-centered part of it is like, hey, protect yourself. When you have sex with someone too soon, you can get emotionally involved. It might not be right. And I agree with that. However, I think there's a lot of shaming toward women and men. Men experience the reverse of it, which is, the more people you sleep with, the better you are, which isn't true. But there's a lot of shaming on women in terms of their quote-unquote number and who they sleep with and when. And I just want to empower you with the advice that it's no one's fucking business how many people you sleep with, when you sleep with them, what feels right to you. It's about what's best for you. And anyone that tries to shame you about it is probably not a good person to either talk about that with or keep in your life in general, because it is internalized misogyny. And we've evolved as a society, I hope, enough where women have agency around this and making the decision and having ownership over their own body and their own pleasure when it feels right to them. If you enter a scenario where you are saying, I don't sleep with people until X number date, the risk that you run is that he goes, if he's just looking for sex, that he dates you that long until he can just get sex. And that's not fair to you either, but that's not always disclosed. So I would just want you to be careful not to be manipulated. Then there's no shame in casual sex at all too. That's the other piece, is if you just are wanting to have casual sex, that is completely okay and your decision, man or woman. There's no shame in it. But nobody's taking anything from you if you sleep with them on date 1 or date 12 or never until you're married. These are your personal decisions.
So I love that you distinguish that, because it to me feels like and this might be a reframe of it, of a dishonoring of your personal integrity. That you get to decide, and integrity is different based on internalized integrity and externalized integrity. The externalized integrity is the rules-based boundaries that I always talk about, of like, I don't get to sleep with him until date 5 or he's going to think X, Y, and Z, versus an internalized boundary, which is a feelings-based boundary of like, I feel like the things that I need to have in place for me to feel safe enough to reveal that part of me, to soften my body in that way, to invite you into that part of me, are in place. In which case, that is an empowered move.
Yeah. Even if it's date 1.
Even if it's date 1, or after you're married, whatever feels safe for you, is what we need to own. We have to start owning those we have to start internalizing our boundaries in that way, so that we are sensitive enough to ourself and what we are needing to have in place in order to take steps that are in our authenticity.
Queen Callie's making an appearance, if you don't know, on the podcast.
My goodness.
She needs some attention. I think, so you're going to hear some kitty noises, which is fine. Speaking of
Here she comes.
So many layups for jokes. Okay. I think we just need to let go of this narrative. Don't sleep with him till X period. No one gets to decide when is the right time for anyone to sleep with anyone other than the two people who are involved.
Yeah.
There are points where it can feel more supportive to have your own boundary in place. I think that's kind of what you were touching on, is like, I won't do this until X date.
Yeah.
If that's your own internal commitment, great. But I would have you look at why also. Where did that boundary come from?
Yeah.
Is it coming from a shame-based place of I'm going to lose my value? Or is it coming from a place of, I know how having sex affects my connection with someone? We want it to come from a place of groundedness and self-awareness.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to outgrow that rule, by the way. That happens a lot for my clients as they move from wounded feminine to empowered feminine. They don't need that rule anymore.
Great point.
Because they've healed that part of them that can sometimes cling or attach.
Excellent point. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. And this is what we were talking about earlier. There's different interpretations of dating advice at different stages of your development. We'll do a whole episode on that. But yeah, that's a really great example of someone who is coming from wounded feminine into empowered feminine may need some structure for themselves based on what we know about ourselves. This is how I operate. I'm not going to do that again because that creates X, Y, and Z for me. In order to heal that, I need to create a little space for that to heal. And that would be the boundary. As you integrate that, that may look very different for you. So just normalize that too. I love that.
Love it. We could have gone on and on about that one.
I mean, that could be its own episode.
It really could be. Okay. The next juicy 3 are going to be in another episode.
Yeah.
So you'll have to come back and hang out with us again.
Yes.
In the meantime, if you're wanting more from Courtney, what do you have for them?
Yeah. Right now, I have 2 spots for Arise for this month when this will be airing. That is what I have available, and 1 spot for my nutrition program. I've got some really great content coming through. It's planned for Q4, so stay tuned for that. I don't have an exact launch date on that, but if you are looking for more of this inner security of defining your own boundaries, internalizing your own boundaries, and then letting them go, letting the scaffolds fall away and reveal this masterpiece that you are, that is the process that I take you through in Arise. That is what we go through so that you feel sturdy and secure, and then you internalize that and can stand on your own 2 feet. I adore taking women through this process, and I would love to have you if this is resonating with you.
I love it. So great.
You?
So great. Yeah, I've got lots of things going on. So you can join the Pleasure Path program, which is for vulva owners if you want to embrace your pleasure, unleash your pleasure, and we're going social, emotional barriers as well. So the parts of you that hold shame, the parts of you that feel constricted, like we just talked about in level on number 4, these societal beliefs. We're taking that perspective. We're also looking at communication in the bedroom, how to get your needs met, how to open up that dialogue, and then the very basics of anatomy, understanding your entire vulva, pleasure mapping, how to explore that, how to explore your own sense of self-pleasure. And the goal is to give women a lot of agency in the bedroom around their pleasure, and then, a way to create a dialogue with their partner around what works for them, because sex is one of the most vulnerable spaces I find for women and maybe for men too. So I've got that program open, and then I'm taking one-to-ones, just like Courtney. My one-to-one's almost full. But if by the time this airs there are openings, I will let you know. So you can just email me. I'll put a link in the show notes, and you can tell me a little bit about what's going on, and we'll figure out a good option for you. I do lots of courses, programs, hybrids for people all the time. So if you know you want to work together, don't know how, that's fine. Just send me or send Courtney your info, and I'm sure Courtney would do the same. Find what works for you. That's what I do with my clients.
Yeah.
So cool.
Amazing. I am so excited about your program. That's going to be amazing.
Thank you.
Oh,
me too. I can't
knowing
wait.
what you're saying, I'm like, yes, women need this.
I mean, freaking work on the planet.
As a collective, this is what the feminine is needing. So thank you for bringing it through.
Yes. My pleasure.
Amazing.
Pun intended. If you love the episode, share it with somebody you think would benefit, and join our newsletter. We do monthly challenges via email for healthy relationship and dating. Stuff like that. Anything else you'd like to add?
I feel like
good. We'll see ya.
We'll catch you on the next episode.
See you later.